Iowa state lawmakers could put more restrictions on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and Illinois state lawmakers focus on tightening the rules for homeschooling. We'll cover that this morning with Iowa Republican Party Central Committee member Michelle Crawford and Democratic political consultant Porter McNeil. Great to see you both. Let's start with Illinois. House Bill 2827 heads to a full vote on the House floor after clearing committee. The Homeschool Act has a few components to it. It would require parents who homeschool their kids to declare it with their local school district every year. Otherwise, they would be considered truant. Parents who teach at home would need to have a high school diploma or equivalent. Any concerns raised by education administrators would also have more authority when it comes to children they think might not be getting the appropriate lessons. They could demand proof students are being taught properly by getting teaching material directly and seeing the student work product to review. This is a controversial proposal. Parents who homeschool don't think the government should interfere. Supporters say it ensures kids are learning important subject matter and could protect them from abusive situations. I guess, is this creating a solution for a problem that doesn't exist? Would the state standardized tests be enough to show how much homeschool students are learning? Porter McNeil.
You know, I'm a parent of public school children and have had success there, but fully support parents' rights for homeschooling or any choice that they make. And you know, in the schools, what we've had accountability and holding teachers and school systems accountable for the curriculum and for the education that our children are learning. And I think it seems like this step, maybe this bill isn't perfect. It still has to pass the House and go to the Senate. But what it's aiming at is some basic level of accountability that seems common sense. It's requiring parents to prove that they are teaching and learning and teaching their children, and the education is at some basic level. It's really to fill in the basic foundation. And unfortunately, this was sparked by a tragedy of a 9-year-old boy in Rock Island who died, who fell between the cracks, and who was homeschooling. And so this is just to require some basic accountability from parents who are homeschooling, basic information for the school systems.
Michelle, necessary legislation or overreach?
You know, it sounds good in theory because I think we always need to have accountability, but I do think that it's a slippery slope, and I do think it is government overreach because there's just so many questions around this and the way it's been presented and how far it's going to go. I think that there is the potential that there could be an infringement on parental rights, and I'll always be pro parental rights in every capacity. And I think because there's so many unknowns and so many questions that couldn't be answered throughout the hearing process and the subcommittee process, I think that there is fear that this will end up being government overreach. And 2020 opened so many parents' eyes to what their children were being educated on, how they were being educated. We've seen such an uptick in parents opting for the homeschool option to be able to have a little bit more control. And if you've got the government coming in and then deciding what you have to be teaching or what you can't be teaching or what curriculum you're presenting, which is, you know, talked about in this bill, that you have to provide the curriculum you're using, I think we are definitely infringing on parental rights, and that's government overstep.
Let's move on. Republicans in the Iowa State Legislature are taking more aim at eliminating diversity, equity, and improvement programs. 3 bills cleared the State House of Representatives this week and head to the state Senate. A law that passed last year banned DEI programs in the state's public universities. These proposals would extend that to community colleges and private universities. Private universities would not be allowed to have a DEI office if they take part in the Iowa Tuition Grant Program. It would ban any requirement to take DEI or critical race theory courses to graduate from college. College courses at public universities couldn't teach identity politics, systemic racism, sexism, oppression, or the privileges inherent in the institutions of the United States or the state of Iowa. It would also create something called the Center for Intellectual Freedom at the University of Iowa. Now, Republicans argue DEI programs threaten hiring and promotions based on merit. Democrats claim this erases progress minorities made gaining access to opportunities. I guess, what does this do to the notion that education is about the exchange of ideas? Michelle Crawford.
So I'm not surprised by this. We definitely saw this out of the last election cycle. Multiple candidates on the Republican side campaigned on it, from Larry Elder to Vivek to Trump, of course. And I think we've heard overwhelmingly from Americans, we want to move away from identity politics and back to a merit-based system. And to do that, we have to start to reduce or eliminate these DEI initiatives that often create more issues than we maybe have in the situation. And at the end of the day, any individual I know is going to tell you they don't care about someone's gender or skin color or religion or political party. They want the most qualified doctor caring for their family. They want the most skilled pilot transporting their family. We have got to get back to a system where the best qualified person, no matter what their identity is getting that scholarship, is getting that spot in the college, is getting that career opportunity if we want to go back and become that strong nation where we work hard, we have perseverance, we have grit. Life isn't always fair. It definitely should be equal, but life isn't always fair, and we have to get back to that merit-based system. So not surprised by this move. We're seeing it at the federal level, and again, it was campaigned on largely in 2024.
Port Appeal, this is certainly a pendulum swing. Is it a swing too far?
Well, I think Iowa has to be careful about swinging too far. A reputation for tolerance and openness and diversity and welcoming is strong for an economy in Iowa. It's strong for the workforce. It builds a strong, diversity builds a strong state, a strong economy, and a strong workforce. Those are strengths. Those are American strengths. When President Eisenhower integrated the armed services in the 1950s, our armed services became more diverse, more talented, and this envy of the world, which it continues to be. So I think you can swing too far in this. Diversity doesn't equal stopping opportunity for others. It's really just expanding opportunity and making sure you have opportunity for all those who want it. So in theory, that's a strength, and that should be a strength in Iowa. And I think they just have to be careful about trying to sort of go too far to the right to try to outdo Florida or some other state that's trying to go farther to the right. And I think that's could become a negative for the Iowa economy, its workforce, and its reputation for tolerance.